authenticity is a superpower. And I'm going to start this off by saying that if you grew up in a similar sort of time period to myself, if you're in your 20s to 30s, you probably know this all too well, but regardless of what age group you are, you probably have experienced this in some capacity. When you go and watch a film or a TV show or just something that's on the TV that day, even as like a reality program, whatever it is, you are only seeing perfectly curated life. And what I mean by that is you are seeing situations that have been put together to make it seem like life is that way. The depictions of life that you are being fed from a very young age are not reality, right? You do not get to see or do so many of the things that you were shown from a young age. And when you're a child, it doesn't really matter because you're interacting with the world in a very different way than you are as an adult. But when you reach adulthood, the things that you do, the ways that you interact with the world have a direct impact on the money you make, the career progression you see, the relationships you build, and the person that you spend the rest of your life with. So if from a young age you're being fed a lie of how the world works and how situations are meant to go, then when you enter into adulthood and you are comparing yourself to this idea of reality that is never being met because you cannot recreate these scenes as much as you want to, especially the way they depict love stories. You want to be able to recreate the same thing, but ultimately it is impossible. Because if you are not a very attractive man or a very successful man or whatever the case is, you've not previously built a relationship with the person that you're speaking to, no matter how well you say some of the lines from these movies or TV shows, you are never going to elicit the same response that they would get from that show, because again, they create what happens, right? They want the guy who no one thinks is going to win to actually win, because that makes a good story. If it's predictable, it's not a good story. But in reality, the predictable things are what happens. The unpredictable things don't tend to happen. I'm not saying they never happen, but they don't tend to happen. So to tie this all together, by being your authentic self, you cannot lose. And the reason you cannot lose is because by being yourself, you are using your natural flow of energy. You are not trying so hard to be another person. You are just being you, which takes very little time and very little energy to actually achieve. Also, in doing this, when people meet you in real life, they are not going to be surprised by the person they meet, because you have just shown your true character. Now, I say this, and the first thing that comes to my mind is, this is who I am, but it takes me a while to warm up, and I think that's okay. But if you are presenting yourself as a person that you generally are not, if you're going online and pretending to be a cat when you're not a cat, then you are not being authentic. I have complained a lot in this video, and that was not the intention to complain. The reason I'm highlighting this is it's something that became apparent to me today on my drive home. So I wanted to go and film this video before I got back because it's late, whatever. The beauty is, by being able to see what the issue is, you can then work on that issue. So me knowing I'm never going to be able to achieve the same levels of charismatic enthusiasm in my speech or the perfect reactions from those around me, I know those things are never going to happen. But what I can now do is still work on my speech and still work on becoming a better communicator and still work on becoming a better person, but without the expectation of getting the same outcomes or results that these movie characters did achieve, because that would be unrealistic. But there are still extraordinary things you can achieve in real life, but taking the judgment or the comparison away from these other characters. So to tie it all together, this was me complaining, but this was a nice realization to come to, that there is hope. You can still become a good person and a better human being without compromising yourself, without ruining your self-image, you can still believe or still understand that you're an amazing person with or without perfection of interactions with other humans.